Gentlemen, there has been a lot of talk about data in Ghana, and I would like to use this video to discuss two of those issues. The first one has to do with fake financial reporting that the government of Ghana is indulging in, reporting fake data to the Parliament of Ghana because, of course, they're not afraid of the people of Ghana. And when it comes to the IMF, which is an institution they fear more than they fear the people of Ghana, they have to report the actual data. The second one has to do with what seems to me like, some massaging of data around the number of infections of the coronavirus pandemic in Ghana, and the assertion that Ghana has reached its peak and is on the descendancy. The data, the time series data being used to make such assertion does not make a lot of theoretical sense. I would like to delve deep into that in this video. So, the practice of making inferences from data actually starts with a carefully planned data collection methodology. You can't just grab data from here and there, in a haphazard way and want to make sense out of it. And secondly, you may have heard about lying with statistics. This is where the Vice President of Ghana, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, comes in. He has bundled a lot of data around over the years, which turns out to be throwing dust into the eyes of the people. Let me give you an example. If you had 10 CDs and you gave 1 CD to your friend, that is 10%, correct? Now, if you have 1,000 CDs and then you gave 20 CDs to your friend, that is just 2%. So in percentage terms, you may think that, oh, this guy gave 10% contribution and this guy gave 2% contribution. So you may think that the 10% guy did actually contribute more. But in reality, it was just 1 CD versus 20 CDs. That is what Bawumia is good at. And he has consistently fooled the people, thrown dust into the eyes of the people by talking in terms of percentages. And people need to start asking him, percentage of what? Every percentage must have a baseline. That is what really tells you who is doing better and what is doing better than the other. You may have heard about the correct data reported to the IMF and the false data that the Minister of Finance and the Vice President, who happens to be the chairman of the Economic Management Team, have been reporting to the Parliament of Ghana. While telling the Parliament of Ghana that in 2018 and 2019, our fiscal deficit was around 3.7 and 4.5 respectively, when faced with the reality to apply for a loan from the IMF, they had to tell the truth. It would appear that the Vice President is not the only one engaged in fake data reporting in Ghana. Let's go to the whiteboard. Let me talk briefly about what appears to be a deliberate attempt at massaging of misreporting data on the number of infections regarding coronavirus in Ghana, as well as very unsubstantiated inferences being drawn from such data in order to make politically expedient decisions. So the purpose of a time series chart is to track a given variable. In this case, I'm going to use the number of infections of coronavirus in Ghana by time. One key thing you need to consider when charting such a variable is to make sure that your time variable is using a consistent time slots. If you decide to go by days or weeks or months or hours or minutes and all that, there must be that consistency on the time series. So the chart I have on the board here is a sample. For example, we are saying that in day 1 or week 1 in Ghana, there were about 5 cases. In day 2, there were about 10 cases, and in that manner. The intention is that as you chart this, you will be able to clearly see the trend, whether the infections are going up, whether they are stable or plateaued, or whether they are descending. In this chart, I could easily say that I have picked out 30 infections by the 4th week or by the 4th day. Now, it is theoretically wrong to assume that because my chart starts descending at this point, I can start by saying on the 5th day that I have already picked and I'm descending. That is not a an accurate way of interpreting time series charts. In fact, you have to continue tracking the number of infections, plotting them on this chart over time, actually over time, before you can make such conclusions. It's very possible that, as my chart shows, on the 4th week or 4th day, I have peaked, and then on the 5th day, I have come to, say, 20 infections. It's actually theoretically possible that on the 6th day, you could record another high number of cases, like it happened in Ghana. If you recall, just immediately a day after the Ministry of Health mentioned that they have peaked and they are declining, the next day we recorded 1,000 more cases. So that is basic, and it's not rocket science. That's basic logic, how to interpret time series charts. First of all, making sure that you have a consistent time lot on your time axis and not a mixture of data you collect sometimes in days, sometimes in 2 days, sometimes in 2 weeks lags and vacuums before you come and plot and give some voodoo kind of time series inference to the people. Politics shouldn't be about lying to the people. Politicians shouldn't be using data to lie to the people. It makes people call all politicians liars, and that is not right. The Vice President of Ghana must know better. The technocrats that the government of Ghana depend on to relate data, to relate inferences from data to the people so the people can make decisions out of, must be factual with the people. This must stop. We will be challenging him on every single metric he puts out there and making sure that he is making factual inferences from accurately gathered data and not just throwing dust into the eyes of the people.